Welcome back to the channel, USA Coins 69, where we dive deep into the exciting world of rare and valuable coins that could be hiding in your collection, in your change jar, or even in your pocket right now. Today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating pieces in American numismatic history, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln wheat penny from 1958 with its mint mark. This little copper coin might seem ordinary at first glance, but its story, history, and potential value make it a true collector's dream. Let's set the stage. The year was 1958, a time when Dwight D. Eisenhower was president, the U.S. economy was booming after World War II, and Elvis Presley was dominating the music charts. Pennies were more than just pocket change, they had real purchasing power. The Lincoln wheat penny was nearing the end of its incredible run, which had begun in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. 1958 would be the very last year this iconic wheatback design would be minted before transitioning to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. That fact alone makes the 1958 penny historically significant. It represents the final chapter of a beloved coin design that had been in circulation for nearly 50 years. The obverse of this coin features the detailed portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. It's the same familiar bust that remains on pennies to this day, but the 1958 wheat penny has an unmistakable vintage charm. Above Lincoln's head, the words, "In God We Trust," remind us of the nation's motto. To the left is the word "Liberty," and to the right is the date, 1958, with its all-important mint mark just below it. That tiny mint mark, whether a D for Denver or no mark for Philadelphia, can make all the difference in rarity and value. Flip the coin over and you'll find the classic wheat ears reverse, with 1 cent boldly in the center, United States of America, beneath it, and the Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, arched along the top. The two wheat stalks that frame the design give the coin its popular nickname, wheat penny. This timeless artwork is a throwback to an era of American coinage that collectors cherish. Now, why is the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny with a mint mark so sought after today? There are a few reasons. First, as mentioned, it's the last year of the wheat penny, a symbolic end to an era. Second, coins from this year that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition are increasingly scarce. Most pennies from 1958 went straight into circulation, rattling around in pockets, cash registers, and piggy banks for years. Finding one without scratches, discoloration, or wear is far from easy, but here's where things get even more interesting: minting errors and special varieties. During the striking process, sometimes dies were misaligned, doubled, or produced with tiny imperfections. These errors were rare to begin with, and even fewer survived without being damaged over time. A 1958 penny with a sharp strike, full original luster, and a notable mint error can command huge attention from collectors. Among the most famous varieties is the double die obverse, where the date and lettering appear doubled due to a die misalignment. Spotting one of these is like hitting the jackpot. Serious collectors know that coin grading plays a huge role in value. A 1958 penny graded MS-65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC is already a treasure, but when you add in a mint mark and a rare error, you're entering elite territory. The combination of historical significance, last year production, mint mark variation, and potential errors is what drives demand, and demand is what pushes prices to astonishing levels. Imagine this: you're sorting through a box of old coins that's been in your family for decades. You pick up a copper penny, turn it over, and realize it's a 1958 wheat penny with a clear mint mark, virtually no wear, and brilliant color. Your heart races as you recognize what you're holding. For most people, that moment could be life-changing, and here's the exciting part: if you have the right 1958 Lincoln wheat penny with a mint mark in exceptional condition, its value could reach an incredible $45,000. That's right, a single penny, worth the price of a new car or even a down payment on a home. So the next time you're going through your change or digging through an old jar of coins, take a closer look. History, beauty, and a small fortune might just be hiding in plain sight. Today, we're diving deep into a piece of early 20th century American history, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln wheat penny from 1917 with its mint mark. This coin is not just old pocket change, it's a remarkable artifact from a time when America was in the midst of tremendous change, and its potential value today might leave you speechless. Let's take a journey back to the year 1917. The United States had just entered World War I. The country was mobilizing its military forces, industries were booming to support the war effort, and the average American was adjusting to a rapidly modernizing world. In the middle of all this, small copper coins were quietly changing hands every day, and among them was the Lincoln wheat penny. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, this coin marked the first time a real person had appeared on U.S. currency. By 1917, the design by Victor David Brenner was already beloved by the public. On the obverse side of the coin, you see the familiar, dignified bust of Abraham Lincoln, his profile finely detailed, symbolizing leadership and integrity. Above his head is the motto, "In God We Trust," a statement of faith that had become standard on U.S. coins. To the left is the word "Liberty," and to the right is the year 1917, accompanied by the all-important mint mark, a small letter just below the date, indicating where the coin was struck. This tiny detail could mean Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. Collectors know that the mint mark can significantly influence rarity and value. The reverse side displays the classic wheat ears design, with 1 cent boldly in the center, United States of America below it, and the Latin phrase E pluribus unum arching along the top. The wheat stalks framing the words represent prosperity and agricultural heritage, two pillars of the American identity during that era. This design, simple yet elegant, is one of the most recognized and admired in U.S. coinage history. Now, what makes the 1917 Lincoln wheat penny with a mint mark such an exciting find today? First and foremost, we're talking about a coin that's over a century old. The passage of time alone has made well-preserved examples rare. Think about it, most of these pennies were used for decades in daily transactions, exposed to wear, scratches, and environmental damage. Finding one in exceptional condition is like discovering a time capsule from the First World War era. The value of this coin skyrockets when you factor in minting errors and condition. During the early 20th century, minting technology was less precise than it is today, and errors were more common. One of the most famous varieties from 1917 is the double die obverse, where parts of the design, especially the date and lettering, appear double due to a die misalignment during production. Coins with this error are highly sought after and can bring in remarkable prices. Grading is another critical aspect. A 1917 Lincoln wheat penny with sharp details, full original luster, and no significant signs of wear can achieve a high grade from professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. A high-grade example with a rare mint mark, such as S for San Francisco, can attract fierce bidding wars among collectors. In fact, even circulated coins from this year can command respectable prices, but in mint state condition, they reach an entirely different level. Imagine sifting through a jar of old coins passed down from your grandparents and spotting the date 1917. You turn the coin slightly and see a crisp mint mark, the design details still sharp after all these years. That moment of recognition could mean you've stumbled upon something extraordinary. It's a connection to history you can hold in your hand, a relic from the time of trench warfare, jazz music's rise, and in America finding its place on the world stage. And here's the truly exciting part: if you possess the right 1917 Lincoln wheat penny with a mint mark, in pristine, uncirculated condition, possibly featuring a rare error, it could be worth an astonishing $50,000. Yes, $50,000 for a single copper penny that once bought candy, a newspaper, or a cup of coffee. So before you dismiss that old coin in your collection, take a closer look. That little disc of metal could be a piece of American history, and a life-changing discovery. Today, we're going to step back in time to the early years of World War II, when the world was changing fast, and the United States was preparing for a role on the global stage. Our focus is on a small yet historically rich piece of currency, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln wheat penny from 1940 with its mint mark. At first glance, it's just a penny, but the story, the design, and the potential value make it something truly special. Let's rewind to the year 1940. Franklin D. Roosevelt was president, America was still recovering from the Great Depression, and although the US had not yet entered the war, tensions overseas were impossible to ignore. People carried their coins and bills everywhere, often not thinking twice about them. But now, decades later, some of those very coins have become prized collector's items. And among them, the 1940 Lincoln Wheat penny stands out as an enduring favorite. This penny's design is one of the most iconic in American numismatic history. On the obverse side, you see the detailed bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Above Lincoln's head are the words, "In God We Trust," to his left the word "Liberty," and to his right, the date, 1940, with its tiny but crucial mint mark just below it. That mint mark, whether it's a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mint mark at all for Philadelphia, can greatly influence a coin's rarity and desirability. Turning the coin over, we see the classic wheat ears design. 1 cent sits proudly in the center, United States of America below it, and E pluribus unum arched along the top. The wheat stalks framing the text are symbols of prosperity and the agricultural roots of the nation. This reverse design had been a staple of U.S. coinage for over 3 decades, and by 1940, it was as familiar to Americans as the penny itself. So, why does the 1940 Lincoln Wheat penny with a mint mark hold such fascination among collectors today? First, its age, over 80 years old, means that uncirculated examples are becoming increasingly hard to find. Think about how many of these coins were handled daily, rattling around in change purses, cash registers, and coat pockets. Time and circulation take their toll, wearing down the sharp details and natural luster that make a coin truly valuable. Second, minting quality and variations play a huge role. In the 1940s, production methods were improving, but mint errors still occurred. Double die obverse, repunched mint marks, and other striking anomalies can turn an ordinary penny into a unique collectible. These minting errors are often subtle, but to a trained eye, they transform a coin's value dramatically. A 1940 penny with a rare error and a desirable mint mark can become the centerpiece of a collection. Third, grading is everything. Coins are graded on their condition, from heavily worn, good examples to pristine, mint state, coins with no signs of wear. A high-grade 1940 penny with bold details, full original red or red-brown color, and a clean surface will stand out in the market. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can certify a coin's quality, giving collectors confidence in their purchase and driving up its price. Let's also consider the historical connection. Owning a 1940 penny is like holding a small, tangible link to the past. This was a year when the U.S. was building up its military, when jazz and swing music filled the airwaves, and when everyday life was about to be transformed by the events of World War II. Each penny minted in 1940 is a piece of that story, a witness to the era's struggles, changes, and hopes. Now picture this: you're going through an old cigar box that's been in your family for generations. You find a small pile of pennies, and one catches your eye, 1940, with a sharp S mint mark beneath the date. You turn it over and see that the wheat stalks are crisp, the lettering sharp, and the surface gleams with its original luster. That moment of realization is pure magic for any collector, the knowledge that you may be holding a valuable and historic treasure. And here's the part you've been waiting for: if you have the right 1940 Lincoln Wheat penny with a mint mark in exceptional, uncirculated condition, possibly featuring a rare error, its value could soar to an incredible $48,000. Yes, $48,000 for a single penny that once bought candy or a newspaper. That's the beauty of coin collecting, the thrill of history, the joy of discovery, and the possibility of uncovering something truly life-changing. So keep an eye on your change, dig through those old jars, and never underestimate the power of a small copper coin. Today, we're diving into a coin that carries both historical weight and incredible collector appeal: the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln Wheat penny from 1945 with its mint mark. This is a coin that was born in the final months of World War II, passed through the hands of soldiers, families, and workers, and now, decades later, could be worth far more than anyone in 1945 could have ever imagined. Let's travel back in time. The year is 1945. The world is in turmoil but on the verge of victory. In Europe, Allied forces are closing in on the end of the war, and in the Pacific, fierce battles continue. Franklin D. Roosevelt is president, though his death in April of that year would bring Harry S. Truman into the Oval Office. In homes across America, rationing is still a way of life. Factories are running day and night to produce weapons, vehicles, and supplies. And while people had their eyes on the headlines, in their pockets and purses, millions carried small copper coins. Lincoln Wheat Pennies, the 1945 pennies design is steeped in history. On the obverse, you see the familiar and respected bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Above his head, the motto, "In God We Trust," stands as a reminder of national faith during difficult times. To Lincoln's left is the word "Liberty," and to his right, the date, 1945, with the mint mark positioned just beneath it. The mint mark, a small letter, reveals where the coin was struck: no mint mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. To collectors, this tiny mark can make all the difference in rarity and value. On the reverse, we have the iconic wheat ears design. 1 cent appears boldly in the center, with United States of America just below it. The phrase, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, arches across the top. 2 stylized wheat stalks frame the words, symbolizing America's agricultural roots and prosperity. This design, simple yet dignified, was beloved by the public and is still considered one of the most beautiful reverse designs in U.S. coin history. So what makes the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark so special? First, its historical context. This coin represents the closing chapter of a world war and the beginning of a new era. Millions were minted, but over the decades, most were lost, damaged, or worn down through daily use. Finding one today in pristine condition, especially with a clear, well-struck mint mark, is far from easy. Second, minting errors from this year are highly collectible. During wartime and the transition into peacetime production, the U.S. Mint faced heavy demands, and errors sometimes slipped through. These could include double die obverse, where the date or lettering appears doubled, repunched mint marks, where the mint mark was stamped more than once, or even planchet flaws. Such imperfections are rare and instantly increase a coin's desirability and value. Third, the importance of condition cannot be overstated. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, with the highest grades reserved for coins that look as if they just left the mint. A high-grade 1945 penny with brilliant original luster, sharp details, and no signs of wear can be a showpiece in any collection. Coins graded MS 65 or higher, especially with a desirable mint mark like S for San Francisco, can attract serious interest from collectors and investors alike. Picture this: you're sorting through a jar of old coins you inherited from a relative. Your fingers brush past a dull penny, but then you see the date, 1945. You flip it over, check the mint mark, and realize it's in outstanding condition. The details are sharp, the surface still has that reddish glow from its original copper finish, and there's no major damage. That's the moment you realize you could be holding something far more valuable than 1 cent. And now, the moment you've been waiting for: if you have the right 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark in exceptional, uncirculated condition, and possibly featuring a rare minting error, its value could reach an astounding $58,000. Yes, $58,000 for a single copper penny that once bought a piece of candy or a newspaper. That's the magic of coin collecting: history you can hold, beauty you can admire, and value you can't ignore. So before you dismiss those old pennies in your drawer, take a closer look. One of them just might change your life. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a piece of mid-20th century American coinage that may look simple at first glance but has an incredible story to tell: the United States of America 1 cent Lincoln Wheat Penny from 1956 with its mint mark. This humble copper coin comes from a time of post-war optimism, rapid change, and economic growth in America. And for the lucky few who find the right one, it could be worth a small fortune today. Let's rewind to the year 1956. Dwight D. Eisenhower was president, Elvis Presley was at the top of the music charts, and televisions were becoming a fixture in homes across the country. It was a period of prosperity, when a penny still held real purchasing power, enough to buy a gumball, make a phone call, or add to a child's growing coin collection. The Lincoln Wheat penny was already a familiar sight, having been first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1956, it had been in circulation for nearly half a century, and its timeless design still resonated with the American public. On the obverse of the coin, you'll see the elegant portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head sits the phrase, "In God We Trust," a proud declaration that has appeared on every penny since the design's inception. To the left is the word "liberty," a core value of the nation, and to the right is the date, 1956, accompanied by the small but significant mint mark beneath it. This mint mark, whether D for Denver or no mark for Philadelphia, is a tiny detail that can have a huge impact on rarity and value. Flipping the coin over reveals the classic wheat ears reverse, with 1 cent boldly centered, United States of America, directly beneath, and E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, arching along the top. The two wheat stalks framing the design are more than decorative, they symbolize prosperity and growth, ideals that reflected America's post-war spirit. Now, you might be wondering, why would a 1956 Lincoln Wheat penny with a mint mark be valuable? After all, millions were minted. The answer lies in a combination of factors: condition, rarity, and errors. First, condition is everything. Most 1956 pennies circulated heavily for years, losing their sharp detail and natural copper luster. Finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition with original mint shine is like finding a time capsule from the 1950s. Second, certain mint marks and production qualities can make a coin stand out. Coins minted in Denver, for example, can be more sought after in high grades due to the limited number of well-preserved examples. But the real game changer is errors. In 1956, despite improvements in minting technology, errors still occurred. Double die obverse, where lettering or numbers appear doubled, repunched mint marks, where the mint mark was stamped more than once, and even off-center strikes can transform an ordinary penny into a collector's prize. Professional grading plays a huge role here. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless coin in perfect mint state. A 1956 penny graded MS 65 or higher, especially with full original red coloring, is already valuable. Add a rare error or an exceptional strike, and you're looking at something truly special. Collectors will pay a premium for a coin that combines rarity, beauty, and historical charm. Think about the history this coin has seen. In 1956, America was booming, the interstate highway system was underway, rock and roll was shaping culture, and the Cold War was influencing politics. People who carried this coin may have dropped it into jukeboxes, spent it at diners, or saved it in piggy banks for a rainy day. Holding a 1956 wheat penny today is holding a tiny piece of that history. Now, picture this: you're sorting through an old collection passed down from a grandparent. Among the tarnished nickels and dimes, you spot a bright, flawless penny with the date 1956. You notice a mint mark, perfect detail in Lincoln's portrait, and the wheat stalks on the reverse looking as sharp as the day they were struck. Your heart races because you know this might be more than just a penny, it might be a life-changing discovery, and here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to own the right 1956 Lincoln Wheat penny with a mint mark in superb, uncirculated condition, possibly featuring a rare minting error, its value could reach an incredible $65,000. Yes, $65,000 for a single copper coin that once jingled in someone's pocket in the 1950s. That's the magic of coin collecting: uncovering history, appreciating beauty, and discovering value you never imagined. So check your jars, drawers, and old boxes. You never know what treasures are waiting to be found. If you enjoyed this journey into the story of the 1956 Lincoln Wheat penny, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next rare coin spotlight. Until next time, happy collecting and good luck on your treasure hunts.